Welcome back to the Precious Metals Summit in Zurich. I'm here with the President and CEO of Riverside Resources, John Mark. Thank you for joining me.
Peter, great to be with you.
So Riverside Resources has a pretty unique business model. Let's talk about your prospect generator setup. How does this work, and how does the company operate?
You know, it's been the best business model. Riverside, I founded it 16 years ago, and I met you, and it was really fun. And we've continued to do well, and we're unique in that we've only put out 75 million shares in 16 years.
Wow.
The way it works is we have had partner funding over $84 million, and yet Riverside has only had to raise 24. So we've had a ratio of 4 times for every $1 Riverside over 16 years. The way it works is we go and stake properties. The way it works is we get partners that will fund the project, and we move those ahead that way. So it's done great for investors.
So you have a very good specialty in finding interesting and good projects that others eventually will want to come in and invest in. How do you go about this? You must have a very good technical background team to find these projects.
We do. We're super lucky. Myself, I did a master's at Harvard, then a PhD. We built a huge database. The database is for all over North America. So from that database and from our technical team, we have a very good technical team in Mexico, strong group in the United States, but particularly in Canada as well. And so we've been able to generate new portfolios. Right now, Riverside, in the last year, has built out a portfolio in Ontario. In 2024, we'll be able to unlock that value. We've done this now over 8 times, where we've helped form entire new corporations out of Riverside. And the shareholders of Riverside have won. We've actually done share splits, not share consolidations.
Wow.
We've actually given our shareholders shares of our dividend companies. So our shareholders have done amazingly well. Those companies that we create then have been able to go up in value, and our shareholders are able to have wins at a zero cost basis. So it's been a really profitable model for our investors that have invested in Riverside.
That's very interesting. So as an investor in Riverside Resources, you bring on a joint venture partner. If it's successful and they like the project and they go form a new company, they become public, so that investors in Riverside Resources get some of these shares.
Exactly. So that's one of 3 different ways that the investors make money in Riverside. Exactly. Another way is that Riverside, for example, one of the projects we're working with is with the world's largest copper company, BHP, and we have copper. In fact, I brought a rock. How many interviews have you had a rock show
First one
up?
today.
You know, I thought I'd do something different for you. You know, just have fun with it. So we bring a rock. This copper rock is from Mexico, and so Riverside has partners, for example, with BHP or other large companies that come and drill. If we're successful in the drilling, the share price goes through the moon. So that's a second way, and we've had multiple different discoveries for Riverside, and that's a second way that the Riverside shareholders do well, is where partners drill on projects we own.
How many projects do you have in your portfolio?
We have 14 projects going right now in multiple commodities. We have rare earth elements, we have copper, we have gold, we have zinc. We definitely have a lot of interest in silver. So the diversity of commodities, because we've worked for the best companies. We've worked for Hochschild Mining and silver. We've worked with Cleveland Cliffs and iron ore. And so we found the best projects that those companies would like to invest in, and then have found ways to own them as Riverside. Riverside has always kept royalties. So we have a whole royalty portfolio.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, in the last couple of years, we've been so successful. Last year, we sold a very large project called Tajitos that Riverside had, did the drilling to Fresnillo with a 2% NSR back to Riverside. That'll be a future mine.
Fantastic. So you have a pre-built-in cash flow model from the royalties. Would you ever look at in the future maybe spitting out the royalty side? Or
yeah, you know, it's something really to look at. And I think in the next 12 months, maybe it's something for current investors to consider. Owning Riverside, you might be able to own in some of those spin-outs. You know, a couple of years ago, we spun out our project Capitan. That's done well. I'm still the chairman of that. It's not like I got out of it. I liked it. We took our vice president. He became the CEO of that. Now we see that we're kind of trying to do that in Ontario and the royalties. So yeah, I definitely see that as a way of unlocking the value.
So this business model really removes a lot of the risk. It's a very interesting way of retaining the interest in the project, but seeing it developed using other partners' money. So that's, I think from an investor perspective, investors are looking at exploration. It's obviously it's a high risk proposition, but you found a way to advance projects, but not removing some of that risk away from for investors. So
completely, and we have $6 million cash in the bank right now. We're trading at only $10 million valuation, so we only have a $4 million enterprise value. So if you look at Riverside, simply the royalties, we have royalties and all these different commodities, the royalty valuation. We actually have an Ontario portfolio that we have 100% that we're ready to go ahead and potentially spin out. We have a whole portfolio in Mexico. We've been talking about this and doing the work. We actually have the rare earth elements and programs in British Columbia. We own all of those things, and the valuation is $4 million. So this week I actually bought more shares, and I continue to buy more shares. I've never sold a share in 16 years.
Wow.
But when we're at this level, we're actually at almost a 16-year low. It's just crazy. There's nothing wrong with the company, and we're sitting on a whole pile of cash. We're not financing. We make over $1 million of income a year. The company's done very well, so it's just really a good business, yes.
Well, that's an excellent setup. I mean, I know the sector is really depressed right now, so a lot of the share prices are just, there's no interest in the sector. So as an investor, this is an excellent time to be looking for opportunities. Obviously, investing in exploration companies, there's a huge dilution game, but as you mentioned, you've issued 70-some million shares over 16 years. That's something that I see junior companies in Vancouver do over a couple-year period. You know, it's a very difficult, capital-intensive process. So you found a way to maintain a very solid share structure. That's very interesting. So you mentioned North America is your interest, right? So is that continuing on in the coming years, that you'll continue to add more properties? And as you said, of different metals, you're not just focused on precious metals. What other opportunities are out there?
Definitely. I think deglobalization is happening. I think there's a real move. The world's being divided into people that are funding into Asia and people that are going to stay out of Asia. And so we had built up a lot of a model of sending over concentrates of copper, other things, into the Asian markets. I think now there's a real demand for having a homegrown or nationalistic. So yes, focusing in North America, particularly focusing in Canada, focusing in the United States, focusing in places that we need to have it at home. We need to have control of those resources, and there's going to be a pent-up demand as the world becomes any more destabilized, any more complexity. Owning these resources, having a skilled technical team to go through the process and not dilute the share structure by having partners de-risk the projects is a definite win for the company and for the community.
Excellent. Well, it's an excellent story. I'm really excited to see how this Ontario portfolio comes together.
Yeah.
I will definitely be picking up some more shares here. I've been a shareholder for some time, so I'm quite excited to see still opportunities at these gold prices. And we'll have to follow up in the coming year to see how things develop. But I really appreciate the update and insights into Riverside Resources. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much. Really great what you've done with your show.
Thank you.